Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you all very much for joining in our new time. So let's continue with our Krishna book. Today we're going to start chapter number 2. Today is session number 3. Let's start with the prayers. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Namo Vishnu Padhaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradhayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Dushe Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Mande Shri Gurun Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Krishna Chaitanyam Ishwaram Hari Om Tatsat. Hare Krishna. Danat pranams to all the devotees. Thank you all for joining in. We are going to start with chapter 2 of Krishna book. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So yesterday we saw how the advent of Lord Krishna was made faster by Narada Muni, right? Actually, Kamsa sent away Vasudeva and Devaki, saying only your 8th son is going to kill me. So you can go back and give me only your 8th son. And then Narada Muni came and told Kamsa that any son could be the first, any son could be the 8th, right? In a circle, we don't know which is the first and which is the 8th, right? So in order to, for the pleasure of the Lord, Narada Muni actually, to speeden up the pastime, to speeden up the advent of Lord Sri Krishna, Narada Muni went and told Kamsa, and Kamsa, we saw how he put Vasudeva and Devaki into the prison house, and Kamsa, Lord, what is his name? Vasudeva. Actually, when the first child is born, Vasudeva goes and gives the child to Kamsa, right? And then this entire episode happens where he tells Vasudeva that you're so truthful, I trust you, you can take your child and go back and bring me only the 8th son. And Narada Muni comes and intervenes. Narada Muni says, you don't know which is 1 and which is 8, so it is not safe. And all of the associates of Lord Vishnu have already started taking birth in Vrindavan. So hearing this, Kamsa, what does he do? He kills the first child of Vasudeva, right? So in this way, Vasudeva and Devaki are now in the prison house of Kamsa, and the first child has already been killed by Kamsa. So in that state, we are going to the second chapter of Krishna book. Let me share my screen. Devotees can raise your hands. This chapter is entitled Prayers by the Demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb of Devaki. Okay, let me share my screen. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, Shri Priya Sampat Mataji, go ahead and read. Second chapter, we are starting. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Mataji Pranams. Chapter 2, the prayers by the demigods for Lord Krishna in the womb. King Kamsa not only occupied the kingdom of the Yadu, Bhoja, and Andhaka dynasty and the kingdom of Surasena, but he also made alliances with all the other demonic kings as follows. The demon Pralamba, demon Baka, demon Chanura, demon Trinavarta, demon Agasura, demon Mushtika, demon Arishta, demon Dvita, demon Putana, demon Keshi, and demon Denuka. At that time, Jarasandha was the king of Magadha province, now known at present as Bihar state. Thus, by his diplomatic policy, Kamsa consolidated the most powerful kingdom of his time under the protection of Jarasandha. He made further alliances with such kings as Banasura and Baumasura until he was the strongest. Then he began to behave most inimically toward the Yadu dynasty into which Krishna was to take his birth. Being harassed by Kamsa, the kings of Yadu, Bhoja, and Andhaka dynasty took shelter in different states, such as the state of Kurus, the state of Panchalas, the state known as Kekaya, Salva, Vidarbha, Nishada, Videha, and Koshala. Kamsa broke the solidity of the Yadu kingdom as well as the Bhoja and Andhaka. He made his position the most solid within the vast tract of land known at the time of as Bharatvarsha. When Kamsa was killing the 6 babies of Devaki and Vasudeva one after another, many friends and relatives of Kamsa approached him and requested him to discontinue these heinous activities, but all of them became worshippers of Kamsa. When Devaki became pregnant for the 7th time, a plenary expansion of Krishna known as Ananta appeared within her womb. Devaki was overwhelmed with both jubilation and lamentation. She was joyful, for she could understand that Lord Vishnu had taken shelter within her womb. But at the same time, she was sorry that as soon as her child would come out, Kamsa would kill him. At that time, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, being compassionate upon the Yadus, who were fearful due to the atrocities committed by Kamsa, ordered the appearance of Yogamaya, his internal potency of Yadu dynasty. Continue, Mataji. Hare Krishna. May continue, Mataji.
Yeah. Continue, Mataji. Next paragraph you can read. Yeah.
Yogamaya is the principal potency of the personality of Godhead. In the Vedas, it is stated that the Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has multiple potencies. Parashya Shaktir Vividaiva Shruyate. All the different potencies are acting externally and internally. And Yogamaya is the chief of all potencies. The Lord ordered the appearance of Yogamaya, the land of Brajabhumi in Vrindavan, which is always decorated and full with beautiful cows. In Vrindavan, Rohini, one of the wives of Vasudeva, was residing at the house of King Nanda and Queen Yashoda. Not only Rohini, but many others in the Yadu dynasty were scattered all over the country due to the fear of atrocities of Kamsa. Some of them were even living in the caves of the mountains.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Hare.
Thus, thank you.
Hare Krishna. So we see here that in this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 children of Devaki are being killed very mercilessly by Kamsa, right? And then the 7th, the appearance of 7th we know is Balaram, and 8th is Lord Sri Krishna himself, right? Balaram actually is transferred in the womb. In the womb only, Balaram is transferred from Devaki into the womb of Rohini. Right, so in that way, Balaram is transferred. So somebody has to be there in the prison house. So who is there in the prison house? The Yoga Maya actually in the form of a child is there. And when Kamsa comes and wants to throw the child, and he generally throws the child against the wall, and in this way kills the child. So when he tries to throw that child, the 7th child, who is Yoga Maya herself, right? Because Balaram has already been transferred to the womb of Rohini. When Devaki, when Kamsa came, this Yogamaya, girl child who was there. So Vasudeva actually told Kamsa, why are you killing this girl child, right? What can this girl child do to you? But Kamsa was so much in anxiety and the fear of life, right? He actually tried to throw this child also to the wall to kill. And then this child assumes the form of Durga and says that the person who's supposed to kill you, right, will definitely take his birth at the appropriate time in the appropriate place, right? So you cannot kill me only. Like, I am only the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. You cannot even kill me. So she assumes the form of Durga and then she vanishes. So in this way, Kamsa is even more disturbed. Kamsa is even more in anxiety. Oh, what is happening, right? So let's see what happens next. Okay, so who's Sridhar Prabhu? Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Dandot Pranam Mataji.
Dandot Pranam.
The Lord thus informed Yogamaya under the imprisonment of Kamsa or Devaki and Vasudeva, or at the present moment by my planetary expansion, Sesha is within the womb of Devaki. You can arrange the transfer of Sesha from the womb of Devaki in the womb of Rohini. After this arrangement, I am personally going to appear in the womb of Devaki with my full potencies. Then I shall appear as the son of Devaki and Vasudeva, and you shall appear as the daughter of Nanda and Yasoda in Vrindavana. Since you will appear my contemporary sisters, and since you will be quickly satisfy the desire of sense gratification, people within the world will worship you with all kinds of valuable presentation, incense, candles, flowers, and offering of sacrifice. People who are offering materialistic perfection with worship you under the different form of your expansion, which will be named as Durga, Bhadragali, Vijaya, Vaishnavi, Kumuda, Chandika, Krishna, Madhavi, and Kanyaka, Maya, Narayani, Ishani, Sarada, and Ambika. Krishna and Yogamaya appear as a brother and sister, the supreme powerful and the supreme power. Although there is no clear distinction between the powerful and the power, power is always subordinate to the powerful. Those who are materialistic are worshippers of the power, but those who are transcendentalists are worshippers of the powerful. Krishna is the supreme powerful and Durga is the supreme power within the material world. Actually, people in the Vedic culture worship both powerful and power and the power. There are many hundreds and thousands of temples of Vishnu and Devi, and sometimes they are worshipped simultaneously. The worshipper of the power, Durga, or eternal energy of Krishna, may achieve all kinds of material success very easily. But anyone who wants to elevate transcendently must engage in worshipping the powerful Krishna consciousness. The Lord also declared to Yogamaya, my planetary expansions, Anandasesha is within the womb of Devaki. On account of being forcibly attracted to the womb of Rohini, he will be known as Sankarshana and will be source of all spiritual power or Bala, by which
Bala.
one can attain.
Bala means strength.
Bala means?
Strength.
Bala means strength, okay. By which one can attain the highest bliss of life, which called as Ramana. Therefore, the planetary portion of Ananda will known after his appearance either as Sankarshana or as Balrama. In the Upanishads, it is stated, Nayam Atma Hinna Labate. The purport is one cannot attain the supreme platform of self-realization without being sufficiently favored by Balrama. Bala does not mean physical strength. No one can attain the spiritual perfection by physical strength. One must have the spiritual strength which is infused by Balrama or Sankarshana. Ananda or Sesha is the source of power which sustains all the planets in the different positions. Materially, this sustaining power is known as the low gravitation, but actually it is display of the potency of Sankarshana. Balrama or Sankarshana is the source of spiritual power or the original spiritual master. Therefore, Lord Nityananda Prabhu, who is also incarnation of Balarama, is the original spiritual master, and the spiritual master is representative of Balarama, the form of Supreme Personality of Godhead, who supplies the spiritual strength in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. It is confirmed that the spiritual master is the manifestation of mercy of Krishna. Thus,
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam Mataji.
Dandavat Pranam. Thank you. So here the appearance of Balaram, how Balaram is transferred from Devaki's womb to Rohini's womb, and Balaram is the seventh son actually of Devaki, but he'll be born in Vrindavan to Rohini, right? It is also said that when Krishna is born, right, at that time, there is this Vasudeva Krishna is actually born to Devaki, and this by the arrangement of the Lord, when the Lord appeared, he appeared as in a four-handed form only, and Devaki told the little child, "Oh Lord, I know that it is you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but please become a normal child, right? Why are you showing your four-handed form?" So in this way, Krishna becomes a normal child, and of course, as directed by Lord Krishna to Vasudeva and Devaki, because they are so selfless, right? Who will have the heart to give their only son to be sent to Vrindavan, right? But for the safety of the child, and because knowing that this child is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and whatever the Lord wills, right? Sam Siddhir Hari Toshanam. The Lord is pleased, and everybody else will automatically be pleased. So in this way, Devaki and Vasudev, they agree to the instructions of the Lord and agree to transfer this child from Mathura, from the prison house of Mathura to Vrindavan Dham. And that's a very beautiful detail, how all the the guards who are guarding the prison house, and all of them fall asleep, and how Nanda Vasudeva actually carries Vasudeva Krishna to Vrindavan, and there Yashoda Maya is given birth to Vrindavan Krishna, right? And there is also another little girl, Yoga Maya, who's there, right? At that time, what happens? This Vasudeva Krishna, as well as this Vrindavan Krishna, they merge together, right? And that's how Krishna is there as one child when Yashoda Maya opens her eyes, and Vasudeva actually brings this girl child to Mathura. Then that's what Kamsa sees. That's how the past tense goes. Okay, let's read it. Okay, and some more on the points of Tattva. Here, Balaram is the original supreme personality of servitor Godhead, right? Balaram actually expands in all the five rasas and serves Lord Sri Krishna. So Balaram, as Shanta Rasa, he becomes the ornaments of Krishna, he becomes the dham, he becomes the pot of butter, he becomes butter also, right? So it can be enjoyed by Krishna, right? In Shanta Rasa, he serves Krishna. In Dasya Rasa, he also serves Krishna. How he massages the feet of the Lord, right? He performs everything according to the will of the Lord, right? Even during the Bawar of Kurukshetra, he knew Krishna's will, that Krishna was going to support the Pandavas. Although Balaram had an inclination towards Duryodhana, he liked Duryodhana. He decided that I will against Krishna, I will not fight. So he said, I'm not going to take part in the battle only, and he went off on Yatra, right? So in this way, he always had that seva bhav towards Lord Sri Krishna, right? And then Sakya, right? Of course, when they are playing, sometimes, they have this bet that whichever team wins, right? Krishna is the leader of one team, Balaram is the leader of the other team. And then what happens, whichever team wins, the other person, right? For example, Krishna has to carry Balaram if Balaram team wins. And Balaram has to carry Krishna if Krishna's team wins. Like that, or any other member of the team. So in this way, they had the Sakyaras. They had, so he gave pleasure to the Lord by being his friend, by being his servant, by being his ornaments and all the other paraphernalia, right? And also, how does he experience Vatsalya Rasa, right? He is the elder brother, right? Elder brother is like the father, right? Yashoda Maya tells Balaram, take care of Krishna. Krishna is very small. You have to take care of Krishna. So he also has that Vatsalya Bhav. He protects Krishna, right? If anybody, tries, to even, of course, in a very protective way, he's protective of Krishna, but he also goes and complains to Mother Yashoda. Today Krishna ate mud, and then that wonderful Leela of Brahma Vimohan Leela happens. So in this way, Sakyaras, Vatsalyaras, and Dasyaras, all three are intertwined in Balaram's service to Lord Sri Krishna. And how is Madhuri Ras, right? Balaram actually becomes Annanga Manjari. And in this way, he also assists in the Madhurya Leela of Shri Radha and Krishna's pastimes also. So in this way, Balaram is the only person who experiences all the 5 rasas and serves Krishna in all the 5 rasas. So in this way, Prabhupada also explains here, right? How can we leave Nityananda Prabhu? Right? Nityananda Prabhu is the incarnation of Balaram. When Krishna appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Balaram appears as Nityananda Prabhu. Right? And it is also that in Treta Yuga, when Krishna appeared as Lord Ram, Balaram was appeared as Lakshmana. Right? That time, Lakshmana did not have any power. Right? He was a younger brother. So every time, whatever Lord Ram says, he has to just follow. Right? So Lakshmana told Lord Ram, right, that in the next incarnation, I will come as your elder brother. So in many cases in the assembly also, when Balaram actually gets the first right to speak and give his view, and then Balaram, after expressing his views, will always look at Krishna. Right? Because Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. And Krishna will not do anything that is going against Balaram. And Balaram will not do anything or say anything that is going against Lord Sri Krishna. So in this way, Balaram and Krishna, although he became the elder brother, although he wanted to put this point across, he always ensured that he does not go against against Lord Sri Krishna. So in this way, there was loving reciprocation between Balaram and Krishna. And as Sadhaka Bhaktas, right, we know that Nityananda Prabhu, right, Nadiya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Patiya Chena Mahate Jivare Karan. So in this way, Balaram, just like Balaram does whatever is pleasing to Lord Sri Krishna, Nityananda Prabhu is not different from Balaram, always does what pleases Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he knows Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is most pleased when Harinam is propagated. That was the very reason for Krishna to incarnate as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One of the external reasons, one of the main external reasons was the propagation of Yoga Dharma, of the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So what did Nityananda Prabhu do? He instructed Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, who is Namacharya, to actually go out and give Harinam to each and everybody. And there was only one qualification that was required. What is that? Shraddha Vanajana hai, Shraddha Vanajana hai. Prabhu ye ajnai bhai, magi ek bhiksha, bolo Krishna, bojo Krishna, koro Krishna siksha. Talk about Krishna, worship Krishna, and give the instruction about Krishna to others. Whatever you hear, that's what Prabhupada also did. Prabhupada is representation of Balaram. Prabhupada is representation of Nityananda Prabhu. All the spiritual masters, our spiritual masters who disciples of Prabhupada himself, and all the Vaishnava Acharyas, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, all the way up, all of our Vaishnava Acharyas who are spiritual masters, they are all representatives of Lord Balaram. They are all manifestations of Lord Balaram. Why? Because Balaram is the original supreme personality of Servitor Godhead. He is the person who knows how best to serve Krishna in all the rasas. Right? So in this way, all of our spiritual masters are said to be representatives of Lord Balaram. All right, so let's move forward. Okay, let me share my screen. Yeah. Okay, Sudha Mataji, go ahead. Thus ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead from there.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandat Pranam. Thus ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Yoga Maya circumambulated the Lord and then appeared within this material world according to his order. When Yoga Maya, the supreme power of the supremely powerful personality of Godhead, transferred Lord Shesha from the womb of Devaki to the womb of Rohini, both Devaki and Rohini were under Yoga Maya's spell, which is called Yoga Nidra. When this was done, people thought that Devaki's 7th pregnancy had been a miscarriage. Thus, although Balarama appeared as the son of Devaki, he was transferred to the womb of Rohini to appear as her son. After this arrangement, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, who is always ready to protect his unalloyed devotees, entered within the mind of Vasudeva as a lord of the whole creation with full inconceivable potencies. It is understood in this connection that Lord Krishna first of all situated himself in the unalloyed heart of Vasudeva and was then transferred to the heart of Devaki. He was not put into the womb of Devaki by seminal discharge. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his inconceivable potency, can appear in any way. It is not necessary for him to appear in the ordinary way by seminal injection within the womb of a woman. When Vasudeva was sustaining the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead within his heart, he appeared just like the glowing sun, whose shining rays are always unbearable and scorching to the common man. The form of the Lord situated in the pure, unalloyed heart of Vasudeva is not different from the original form of Krishna. The appearance of the form of Krishna anywhere and specifically within the heart is called Dhamma. Dhamma refers not only to Krishna's form but also to his name, his qualities, and his paraphernalia. Everything becomes manifest simultaneously. Thus, the external form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and with full
Eternal form.
potency. Thus, the eternal form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead with full potencies was transferred from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, exactly as the setting sun's rays are transferred to the full moon rising in the east. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus entered the body of Devaki from the body of Vasudeva without being subject to any of the conditions of an ordinary living entity. Since Krishna was there, it is to be understood that all his plenary expansions, such as Narayana and incarnations like Lord Nrsimha and Varaha, were with him, and they also were not subject to the conditions of material existence. In this way, Devaki became the residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without a second and the cause of all creation. Devaki became the residence of the Absolute Truth, but because she was confined within the house of Kamsa, she looked just like a suppressed fire or like misused education. When fire is kept in a jug, the illuminating rays of the fire cannot be very much appreciated. Similarly, misused knowledge, which does not benefit the people in general, is not very much appreciated. So Devaki was kept within the prison walls of Kamsa's palace, and no one could see her transcendental beauty, which resulted from her conceiving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kamsa, however, saw the transcendental beauty of his sister Devaki, and he at once concluded that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had taken shelter in her womb. She had never before looked so wonderfully beautiful. He could distinctly understand that there was something wonderful within the womb of Devaki. In this way, Kamsa became perturbed because he was sure that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who would kill him in the future, had now come. Kamsa began to think, what is to be done with Devaki? Surely she has Vishnu or Krishna within her womb, so it is certain that Krishna has come to execute the mission of the demigods. And even if I immediately kill Devaki, his mission cannot be frustrated. Kamsa knew very well that no one can frustrate the purpose of Vishnu. Any intelligent man can understand that the laws of God cannot be violated. His purpose will be served in spite of all impediments offered by the demons. Kamsa thought, if I kill Devaki at the present moment, Vishnu will enforce his supreme will more vehemently. To kill Devaki just now would be a most abominable act. No one desires to kill his reputation even in an awkward situation. If I kill Devaki now, my reputation will be spoiled. Devaki is a woman and she is under my shelter. She is pregnant, and if I kill her immediately, my reputation, the results of my pious activities, and my duration of life, all will be finished. He further deliberated, a person who is too cruel is as good as dead even in this lifetime. No one likes a cruel person during his lifetime, and after his death, people curse him. On account of his self-identification with the body, he must be degraded and pushed into the darkest region of hell. Kamsa thus meditated on all the pros and cons of killing Devaki at that time.
Hare Krishna. Thank
So,
you, Mataji.
thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So it is not that Kamsa was ignorant, right? Kamsa was very much intelligent enough to understand what he should do, what he should not do, right? It's not that he was not, they were well read. Like even it is said that Ravana and Kamsa and all, they were very well read in the scriptures. They knew what is to be done. Dharmam tu sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. He knew that, Devaki is looking so exceptionally beautiful because the Supreme Lord is there in the womb of Devaki. But now what should I do? Right? He wants his life to be protected. He does not want to be killed. Right? And so this what do you call it? Confusion is going on in his mind. What can I do? At the same time, he's also bothered bothered of his reputation. Oh, so nobody should curse him or tell that what a cruel brother, he killed his sister when she was pregnant and he was supposed to give protection. So he did not want that also. And he knew that the wrath of the Supreme Personality of Godhead also. Right? He understood that if you were to do something to Devaki at this time, the Lord will get very angry, and anyway he was supposed to be killed. He understood that also. Anyway he will be killed. but the way he will be killed will become all the more atrocious and unbearable for him. So in that way, he finally decides not to kill Devaki right away, but just wait for the child to be born, and then I will take care of the child like I took care of the last six children. Of course, Balaram was Balaram was supposed to be projected as a miscarriage, because in the womb only Balaram was transferred from Devaki's womb to Rohini's womb. So everybody in Mathura, they were informed that it was a miscarriage for Devaki. So the seventh child was not killed, but before that all the six children were brutally killed by Kamsa. All right, let's move forward. So one more thing I wanted to highlight here is, if someone has a demonic mentality, one is always confused, right? Although one knows what is the right path, what is the right thing to do, however, one is not able to make that decision to go with the right thing, right? All of us have choices at all times. One, what is right, and two is what is convenient for us. And between these two choices, as long as we do what is right, right, according to our dharma, what is right, we will always be pleasing the Supreme Lord. But when we take a shortcut, when we take what is convenient for us, which we know is not right, then we will always be taking the path that is not pleasing to the Supreme Lord. So in that way, it's quite easy to make a choice. Sometimes we confuse ourselves because we don't want to do what is right, and that is why we seek. We ask so many devotees, at least one of them can, tell, that's why many Siksha Gurus we may have, we ask so many Siksha Gurus, ye karu ki wo karu, right? As long as we find one Siksha Guru telling us what we really want to do, then we take up that. That is why it is said one should have one primary Siksha Guru whom one should ask and simply follow the instructions of that Siksha Guru, rather than have many Siksha Gurus. Right? One can have many Siksha Gurus for different reasons. Like, for example, if someone is inspiring us to chant better, that person can be a Siksha Guru for me to understand how to chant in a focused way. I can have one Siksha Guru who guides me how to do nice deity worship. I can have another Siksha Guru who teaches me how to prepare nice boga to offer to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So I can have many Siksha Gurus according to how many devotees inspire me to perform various kinds of devotional service. But I should have one Siksha Guru to whom I am accountable to. I am accountable for. Am I chanting my rounds? Am I hearing every day Srila Prabhupada's lectures, or lectures of of an Acharya coming from the bona fide parampara? Or am I studying Srila Prabhupada's books every day? So in that way, I need to have an accountability. Otherwise, mind will trick us, right? One day if you don't read, what happens? One day if you don't hear, what happens? Right? So the consistency is the key. If you're able to do it consistently for a long time, then it does not remain an austerity, because it will become the way we live. It will become our lifestyle, right? So Krishna consciousness is a way by which we want to transform our lifestyle in a way that is pleasing to Guru and Gauranga. That's why perfected devotees, pure devotees of the Lord, they don't follow rules and regulations. Why? Because they are Raganuga Bhaktas. Does it mean they don't wake up during Brahma Muhurta, they don't chant Hare Krishna? Of course not. They don't do it as an austerity. Why? Because it has already been ingrained in them as a lifestyle, right? If they don't wake up on Mangala Arati for a particular day, they will feel, something is wrong today. Or maybe it's something really they're unwell or something like that, right? The pure devotees of the Lord, they practice the rules and regulations, but not as rules and regulations. So we should not misunderstand when it is said that the Raganuga Bhaktas or the Ragatmika Bhaktas, they don't follow any rules and regulations. It means that whatever is pleasing to Krishna is already ingrained in them as a habit. So they don't have to have it as 1, 2, 3, 4 and checklist and tick mark. That's what we Sadhaka Bhaktas are doing. Am I chanting minimum 16 rounds? Am I hearing Prabhupada's lecture? Am I hearing my Guru Maharaj's lectures? Am I studying Srila Prabhupada's book? Am I following Ekadashi Vrata? Right? All these are checklists for Sadhaka Bhaktas. But in Raganuga stage, it becomes so much ingrained as a part of our life that it is no longer a checklist that we have to tick, right? Because you're already pleasing Lord Sri Krishna by our Manasa, Vacha and Karmana, right? By our body, by our words and by our actions. By our words, mind and actions. Yeah. All right, let's move ahead. Okay, who will read now? Rajneesh Prabhu, go ahead. Kamsa finally decided.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.
Kamsa finally decided not to kill Devaki right away, but to wait for inevitable future. But his mind became absorbed in animosity against the personality of Godhead. He patiently waited for the delivery of the child, expected to kill him as he had done previously with other devis of his, thus being merged in the ocean of animosity against the personality of Godhead. He began to think of Krishna or Vishnu while sleeping, while walking, while sitting, while sitting. In all situations of his life, his mind became so much absorbed with the thought of the Supreme Personality of Godhead that indirectly he could see only Krishna or Vishnu. Unfortunately, although his mind was so absorbed in the thought of Vishnu, he is not recognized as a devotee because he was thinking of Krishna as a state of mind of a great devotee is also to be always absorbed in Krishna, but a devotee thinks of him favorably, not unfavorably. To think of Krishna favorably is Krishna consciousness, but to think of Krishna unfavorably. Not at this time, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, accompanied by great sages like Narad and followed by many other demigods, invisibly appeared in the house of some. They began to pray to Supreme Personality of Godhead, selected verses which are very pleasing to the devotees and which award fulfillment of their desires. The first verse they spoke acclaimed that Lord is true to his vow. His vow, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna sent to this material world just to protect the pious and destroy the impious. That is his vow. The demigods could understand that the Lord had taken his residence within the womb of Devaki to fulfill his vow. And they were very glad that the Lord was appearing in order to fulfill his mission. Then the demigods addressed the
Thank you,
Lord
Prabhu.
as Satyam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Dandat Pranam. So, very beautifully, Prabhupada is making a point here. Kamsa was always thinking about Krishna. Always thinking about Krishna. Why is he not called a devotee? Why is he called a demon? Right? Anya Bilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam Anukulena Krishna Anushilanam. Bhakti Ruttama. What is bhakti? To always remember Lord, never forget Lord, of course, right? Now, what is that? Smartavya Satatam Vishnur Vismartavyo na Jatuchit. Sarve Vidi Nishedhyasur Etayor Eva Kinkaraha. The purpose of all of our rules and regulations, the purpose of chanting Hare Krishna, everything is to actually attain or come to this level of always remembering Krishna, never forgetting Krishna. And Kamsa was already in that level. But unfortunately, Kamsa was thinking, how will I kill Krishna? Right? When will this child be born so that I can kill him? He was always thinking him as an enemy. He was not thinking of Krishna as, as somebody whom I can serve. Although Krishna enjoyed, right? Krishna enjoyed Virya Rasa, right? When he fights with the demons, right? And Kamsa is also not even of the caliber that Krishna enjoyed Virya Rasa with him. It is mentioned in Krishna book. He just slapped him behind the ear and Kamsa fell down dead. Right? Whereas with Hiranyaksha, with Hiranyakashipu, with Shishupal, Dantavakra, right? There was a elongated either a discussion, war of words, or a strength war, right? With Kumbhakarna and Ravana, right? There was a big fight where the Lord enjoyed Viryaras, but Kamsa was not even in that level where Krishna wanted to enjoy Viryaras with him. He just slapped him behind the ear and he fell down dead, right? So because Kamsa was not engaged in devotional service, whereas all of these demons, Hiranyakashipu, Hiranyaksha, Shishupal, Dantavakra, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, they were actually Jaya Vijaya, right? They were from the spiritual world. So that is why Krishna enjoyed performing Viryaras with those devotees. And hence we see the battle of, Hiranyaksha and the Lord came as Varaha, right? The Lord came as Varaha to actually lift the earth from the Garbhoduk ocean, right? There is a very beautiful description in an entire chapter how the Lord and Hiranyaksha fight, right? And how they interchange places and how each of them hit the other with mace and everything. But there is not at all any description in Krishna book about how Kamsa is killed. It just he slapped behind the ear and Kamsa fell down dead like that. right? So in this way, only the devotees of the Lord can give pleasure to the Lord, right? No one else who does not have the desire to please the Lord can please the Lord, right? Even though one may be thinking about the Lord, it's very important. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam, right? Following in the footsteps of our Vaishnava Acharyas, we should always remember Krishna in a favorable way, with the desire to please, with the desire to serve, satisfy and please the Lord. Then only we come to the category of devotees. Otherwise, we may even think of the Lord, but like Kamsa will still be demoniac. Yeah. All right, let's move ahead. Okay, so who's reading? Sindhu Mataji, would you like to read?
Yes, Mataji. Thank you,
Go
Mataji.
ahead.
Pranam. Hare
Pranams.
Krishna. The demigods continued from there once again.
Then the
Okay, then
demigods
the
address
demigods,
the Lord.
yeah. Then the demigods address the Lord as Satyam Param, or the supreme absolute truth. Everyone is searching after the truth. That is a philosophical way of life. The demigods give information that the supreme absolute truth is Krishna. One who becomes fully Krishna conscious can attain the absolute truth. Krishna is absolute truth because, unlike relative truth, he is truth in all three phases of eternal time. Time is divided into past, present, and future. Krishna is truth always, past, present, and future. In the material world, everything is being controlled by supreme time in the course of past, present, and future. But before the creation, Krishna was existing. And when there is creation, everything is resting in Krishna. And when this creation is finished, Krishna will remain. Therefore, he is the absolute truth in all the circumstances. If there's any truth within this material world, it emanates from the supreme truth, Krishna. If there's any opulence within this material world, the cause of the opulence is Krishna. If there's any reputation within this material world, the cause of the reputation is Krishna. If there is any strength within this material world, the cause of such strength is Krishna. If there's any wisdom and education within this material world, the cause of such wisdom and education is Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the source of all the relative truths. This material world is composed of 5 principal elements: earth, water, fire, air, and ether, and all such elements are emanations from Krishna. The material scientists accept these 5 primary elements as the cause of the material manifestation, but the elements in their gross and subtle states are produced by Krishna. The living entities who are working within this material world are products of his marginal potency. In the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that the whole manifestation is a combination of the 2 kinds of energies of Krishna, the superior energy and the inferior energy. The living entities are the superior energy, and the dead material elements are his inferior energy. In its dormant state, everything remains in Krishna. The demigods continued to offer their respectful prayers unto the supreme form of the personality of God and Krishna by analytical study of the material manifestation. What is this material manifestation? It is just like a tree. A tree stands on the ground. Similarly, the tree of the material manifestation is standing on the ground of material nature. This material manifestation is compared to a tree because a tree is ultimately cut off in due course of time. A tree is called vriksha. Vriksha means that thing which will be ultimately cut off. Therefore, this tree of the material manifestation cannot be accepted as the ultimate truth because it is influenced by time. But Krishna's body is eternal. He existed before the material manifestation. He is existing while the material manifestation is continuing. And when it will be dissolved, he will continue to exist. Therefore, only Krishna can be accepted as the absolute truth.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So here in Bhagavatam Chaturshloki verse it comes Aham meva sameva agre na anyad yatsata satparam paschad aham yadetacha yovasishyeta sosmiham rateretam yat pratiyeta na pratiyeta chatmani tadvidyadatmano mayam yata bhaso yata tamaha. Right, wherein Krishna is saying that I only existed before creation, I am the maintainer of the creation, and I will be existing after the annihilation also. Right, I am only existing before the creation, during the creation, and after the creation. Everything is created by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. And Krishna is talking about his 2 energies. What is his 2 energies? Superior energy and the inferior energy. Maya is the inferior energy of the Lord, the material nature. Right, the superior energy are referring to the living entities. Right, the living entities are superior to the material nature. That is why the living entity is trying to exploit the material nature. Whereas even superior to the jivas, right? Because they are considered marginal potency. Marginal potency means they sometimes lean towards the internal pleasure potency of the Lord, and sometimes towards exploitation of the external energy of the Lord. Right? That is why it is said they are said to be tatastha shakti. Tata means like the bank of a river, right? Sometimes it's wet, sometimes it's dry, right? So like that, sometimes we are inclined to serve the Lord, and that time we are considered to be part of the internal energy of the Lord, wherein we want to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas sometimes we are inclined towards exploiting the material nature by engaging in sense gratification. In such a case, we get this demoniac mentality, right? So who knows the past, present, and the future? Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita also, Natvevaham jatu nasham natum neme janadibha na chaiva na bhavishyama sarve vai ataha param. That means you and I have crossed several births. You and I have taken several births together. Whenever Krishna appears, Arjuna also appears. Right? So, but Krishna tells Arjuna, you don't remember anything. All of those previous births, I remember everything. Right? So, in this world, we forget everything by the influence of time. Right? What breakfast I had day before yesterday, I don't know. I don't remember. Right? We forget everything by the influence of time. That is why only Krishna remembers the past, the present, as well as the future. Even the eternal associates of the Lord cannot remember past, present, and future unless he or she is bestowed with that power by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to satisfy certain purposes. And even such pure devotees can be put into illusion by the Supreme Lord. Here, Arjuna is a pure devotee of the Lord. He says, I don't remember. I don't understand how you and me, we can be of the same age. But you're telling that you the sun god Vivaswan. You are saying you know the past, present, and the future, whereas I am not knowing it. Right? So there is relative truth and there is absolute truth. All living entities, even the perfected living entities, can understand only the relevant truth. What is absolute truth? Trikala. Right? The past, the present, and the future can be known only by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and can also be known by the eternal devotees of the Lord. Whenever the Lord wants to serve certain purpose, then he will put the devotees under illusion, not under illusion, under the curtain of Yoga Maya, so that the pastime or the purpose of the Lord can be served. Otherwise, Krishna is the only absolute truth. That's why in Bhagavatam it says, Satyam Param Dhimahi. Right? Janmadhyasya Eton Vedaitadas Chateshva Vignya Swarad. He is extremely independent. He does whatever he wants to do, whenever he wants to do, because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the Supreme Absolute Truth. Like that. It's described in Srimad Bhagavatam. All right, let's move forward. Okay, who's reading now? Okay, Rohini Mataji, go ahead. Katha Upanishad.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
The Katha Upanishad also cites this. The Katha Upanishad also cites this example of the tree of the material manifestation standing on the ground of material nature. This tree has two kinds of fruits, distress and happiness. Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Those who are living in the tree of the body are just like two birds. One bird is the localized aspect of Krishna known as the Paramatma, and the other bird is the living entity. The living entity is eating the fruits of this material manifestation. Sometimes he eats the fruit of happiness, and sometimes he eats the fruit of distress. But the other bird is not interested in eating the fruit of distress or happiness because he is self-satisfied. The Katha Upanishad states that one bird on the tree of the body is eating the fruits, and the other bird is simply witnessing. The roots of this tree extend in three directions. This means that the root of the tree is the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. Just as the tree's roots expand, so by association of the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, one expands its duration of material existence. The tastes of the fruits are of four kinds: religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and ultimately liberation. According to the different associations in the three modes of material nature, the living entities are tasting different kinds of religiosity, different kinds of economic development, different kinds of sense gratification, and different kinds of liberation. Practically all material work is performed in ignorance, but because there are three qualities, sometimes the quality of ignorance is covered with goodness or passion. The taste of these material fruits is accepted through five senses. The five sense organs through which knowledge is acquired are subjected to six kinds of whips. lamentation, illusion, infirmity, death, hunger, and thirst. This material body or the material manifestation is covered by 7 layers: skin, flesh, blood, marrow, bone, fat, and semen. The branches of the tree are 8: earth, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. There are 9 gates in this body: the 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 1 genital, 1 rectum. And there are 10 kinds of internal air passing within the body: prana, apana, udana, vyana, samana, etc. The 2 birds seated in this tree, as explained above, are the living entity and the localized Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma. The root cause of the material manifestation described here is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Personality of Godhead expands himself to take charge of the 3 qualities of the material world. Vishnu takes charge of the mode of goodness, Brahma takes charge of the mode of passion, and Lord Shiva takes charge of the mode of ignorance. Brahma, by the mode of passion, creates this manifestation. Lord Vishnu maintains this manifestation by the mode of goodness, and Lord Shiva annihilates it by the mode of ignorance. The whole creation ultimately rests in the Supreme Lord. He is the cause of creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And when the whole manifestation is dissolved in its subtle form as his energy, it rests within his body. At present, the demigods pray. The Supreme Lord Krishna is appearing just for the maintenance of this manifestation. Actually, the Supreme Cause is one, but less intelligent persons, being deluded by the 3 modes of material nature, sees that the material world is manifested through different causes. Those who are intelligent can see that the cause is one, Krishna. As it is stated in the Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradi Govinda Sarvakara Karanam. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of the Godhead, is the cause of all causes. Brahma is the deputed agent for creation. Vishnu is the expansion of Krishna for maintenance, and Lord Shiva is the expansion of Krishna for dissolution. O dear Lord, the demigods pray. It is very difficult to understand your eternal form or personality. People in general are unable to understand your actual form. Therefore, you are personally descending to exhibit your original eternal form. Somehow, people can understand the different incarnations of your Lordship, but they are puzzled to understand the eternal form of Krishna with 2 hands moving among human beings exactly like one of them. This eternal form of your Lordship gives ever increasing transcendental pleasure to the devotees, but for the non-devotees, this form is very dangerous. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is very pleasing to the sadhus, paritranaya sadhunam. But this form is very dangerous for the demons, because Krishna also descends to kill the demons. He is therefore simultaneously pleasing to the devotees and dangerous to the demons. Our dear lotus-eyed
Krishna,
Lord.
thank you, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. Thank you, Dhanurpranam. So here we see how we all know the pastime of Narsinghadev and Prahlad Maharaj, right? So always this is explained with an example how the cub in the mouth of the lion, right, is protection for the lion cub. Whereas if it is any other animal in the mouth of the lion, it means death, right? So in that way, to all the devotees who are surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even at the time of death, they feel protected by the Supreme Lord, right? For the others who are not surrendered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, death is the greatest source of anxiety, right? Mrityu sarva haraschaham in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Mrityu sarva haraschaham. At the time of death, everything will be taken away from you. But for those who are surrendered to the Lord, anyway they knew that nothing belonged to them. So what is there to be taken away? Right? Even this body, which is made up of the earth, water, fire, air, ether, is also made up of those elements which belong to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord says, earth, water, bhumi, rapo, nalo, vayu, kam, mano, buddhi, revacha. All of these elements are creations of mine, right? So in this way, even this material body actually belongs to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And hence the body also has to be utilized in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And Brahma Samhita also, it is beautifully stated here, Ishvara Parama Krishna. Right? All the demigods who are actually worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they are also controllers. They're all controllers of certain aspects of this mode of manifestation. Like Lord Vishnu takes care of the maintenance, Shiva takes care of annihilation, Brahma takes care of creation, or Brahma takes care of the secondary creation, if you have to be specific. So in this way, although everybody, different people take care of different administrative activities, Krishna is the source. Krishna is the provider of energy to all the various demigods for performing various activities, because he is the supreme personality of Godhead. And even if he appears in a very fierce avatar, right, he is most he is appearing in the most pleasing way to his devotees, right, as we see in so many incarnations of the Supreme Lord. Okay, let's move forward. Our dear lotus-eyed Lord, Karpaguli Mataji, go ahead.
Mataji, thank you, Mataji, Nadatma.
Hare Krishna, Danatma.
Our dear lotus-eyed Lord, you are the source of pure goodness. There are many sages who simply by samadhi or transcendently meditating upon your lotus feet and thus being absorbed in your thought have easily transformed the great ocean of nature created by the material nature into no more than the water in a soft spring. The purpose of meditation is to focus the mind upon the personality of Godhead, beginning from his lotus feet. Simply by meditation on the lotus feet of the Lord, great sages cross over the vast ocean of material existence without difficulty. O self-illuminated one, the great saintly persons who have crossed over the ocean of nations by the help of the transcendental boat of your lotus feet have not taken away that boat. It is still lying on the side. If one takes the boat to cross over a river, the boat also goes with one to the other side of the river. So when one reaches a destination, how can the same boat be available to those who are still on this side? The answer to it is difficulty. The demigods say in their prayer that the boat of the Lord's lotus feet is not taken away. The devotees still remaining on this side are able to pass over the ocean of material nature because the pure devotees do not take the boat with them when they cross over. When one simply approaches the boat, the whole ocean of material nature is reduced to the size of the water in a soft spring. Therefore, the devotees do not need to take the boat to the other side. They simply cross the ocean immediately because the great saintly persons are compassionate towards all conditions. So the boat is still lying on this side. In other words, one can meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord at any time, and by so doing, one can cross over the great ocean of the material existence. Meditation means concentration upon the lotus feet of the Lord. Lotus feet indicates the supreme personality of Godhead. But those who are impersonal do not recognize the lotus feet of the Lord, and therefore their object of meditation is something impersonal. The demigods express their mature verdict that persons who are interested in meditating upon something void or impersonal cannot cross over the ocean of nature. Such persons are simply imagining that they have become liberated. O lotus-eyed Lord, their intelligence is contaminated because they fail to meditate upon the lotus feet of your Lordship. As a result of this neglectful activity, the impersonalists fall down again into the material way of conditioned life. Although they temporarily rise to the point of impersonal realization, impersonalists undergo severe austerities and penances to merge themselves into the Brahman effulgence or impersonal Brahman existence. But their minds are not free from material contamination. They have simply tried to negate the material ways of thinking. That does not mean that they have become liberated. Thus, they fall down. In the Bhagavad Gita.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So, Klesho Adhikadastesham Abhyakta Sakta Chetasam. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, by your listening to daily you're meditating upon the lotus feet, no, Mataji, that
yeah, I was about to say that.
Very nice. That is very nice, Mataji.
Very good. Yeah, so Klesho Adhikadarastesham Abhyakta Sakta Chetasam Avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadbir avapyate. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita how we need to meditate on the lotus feet of the Lord, right from the lotus feet till the lotus face of the Lord. We need to meditate on the form of the Lord because Krishna is Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Like Karpagavali Mataji was just saying, every day we are meditating on this from the lotus feet to the lotus face of the Lord, from Srimad Bhagavatam 10.33.20 to 34 verses. Right? So every day they are meditating on the Lord before we start chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. because we know that the lotus form of the Lord is not different from the sound vibration of the Lord, right? That's why we are meditating on the lotus form of the Lord before we start the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because Krishna himself says it is very, very difficult. Klesho adhikatarastesham. Klesha means difficult. Adhika means very, very difficult, right? It's very, very difficult to actually understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But sevon mukhe hi jiva adav. But when we perform the seva of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, then automatically we are able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead by His own mercy, knowing well that the Lord and His holy names are non-different. So when we chant with this understanding, meditating on the lotus feet of the Lord, then we are able to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead like that. Okay, so next, Deval Mataji, go ahead. In the Bhagavad Gita.
Hare Krishna Mataji. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the impersonalist has to undergo great tribulation in realizing his ultimate goal. At the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is also stated that without devotional service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one cannot achieve liberation from the bondage of innovative activities. The statement of Lord Krishna is there in the Bhagavad Gita and in the Srimad Bhagavatam of the great sage. And here also the demigods. Persons who have not taken to devotional service are understood to have understood to come short of the ultimate purpose of knowledge and are not favored by your grace. The impersonalists simply think are liberated, but actually they have no feeling for the personality of Godhead. They think that when Krishna comes into the material world, he accepts a material body. They therefore overlook the transcendental body of Krishna. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Avajananti ma mudha. In spite of conquering material lust and rising to the point of liberation, the impersonalists fall down. If they are engaged just in knowing things for the sake of knowledge and do not take to the devotional service of the Lord, they cannot achieve the desired results. Their achievement is the trouble they take, and that is all. It is clearly stated in the Bhagavad Gita that to realize Brahman identification is not all. Brahman identification may help one become joyful without material attachment or detachment, and to achieve the platform of equanimity. But after this stage, one has to take to devotional service. When one takes to devotional service, after being elevated to the platform of Brahman realization, he is then admitted into the spiritual kingdom for permanent residence in association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the result of devotional service. Those who are devotees of the Supreme Personality of Godhead never fall down like the impersonalists. Even if the devotees fall down, they remain affectionately attached to their Lord, can meet all kinds of obstacles on the path of devotional service, and freely, without any fear, they can surmount such obstacles. Because of their surrender, they are certain that Krishna will always protect them. As it is promised by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, my devotees are never vanquished. Our dear Lord, the demigods continued, you have appeared in your original unalloyed form, the eternal form of goodness, for the welfare of all living entities within this material world. Taking advantage of your appearance, all of them can now very easily understand the nature and form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead persons who belong to the four divisions of the social order, the brahmacharis, grahasthas, vanaprasthas, and sannyasis, can all take advantage of your appearance. Dear Lord, husband of the goddess of fortune, devotees who are dovetailed in your service do not fall down from their high position like the impersonalists. Being protected by you, the devotees are able to traverse over the heads of many of Maya's commanders-in-chief, who can always put stumbling blocks on the path of liberation. Dear Lord, you appear in your eternal transcendental form for the benefit of the living entities, so that they can see you face to face and offer their worshipful sacrifices by ritualistic performance of the Vedas, mystic meditation, and devotional service, as recommended in the scriptures. Dear Lord, if you did not appear in your eternal transcendental form, full of bliss and knowledge, a form which can eradicate all kinds of speculative ignorance about your position, then all people would simply speculate about you according to their respective modes of material nature. The appearance of Krishna is the answer to all imaginative iconography of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone imagines the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead according to his mode of material nature. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord is the oldest person. Therefore, a section of religionists imagine that God must be very old, and therefore they depict a form of the Lord like a very old man. But in the same Brahma Samhita, that is contradicted. Although he is the oldest of all living entities, he has his eternal form as a a fresh youth. The exact words used in this connection in Srimad Bhagavatam are Vijnana Ajnana Bhida Pamarajanam. Vijnanam means transcendental knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vijnanam is also experienced knowledge. Transcendental knowledge has to be accepted by the descending process of disciplic succession, as Brahma presents the knowledge of Krishna in the Brahma Samhita. The Brahma Samhita is Vijnanam as realized by Brahma's transcendental experience, and in that way he presented the form and the pastimes of Krishna in the transcendental abode. This knowledge is Ajnana Bhida Pamarajanam, that which can smash all kinds of speculation in ignorance. People are imagining the form of Lord. Sometimes he has no form and sometimes he has form according to their different imaginations. But the presentation of Krishna in the Brahma Samhita is Vijnanam, scientific, experienced knowledge given by Lord Brahma and accepted by Lord Chaitanya. There is no doubt about it. Krishna's form, Krishna's flute, Krishna's color, everything is reality. Here it is said that this Vijnanam is always defeating all kinds of speculative knowledge. Therefore, without your appearing as Krishna, as you are, neither Ajnana Bhida Pamarajanam, destruction of the science of speculative knowledge, nor Vijnanam would be realized. In other words, your appearance will vanquish the ignorance of speculative knowledge and establish the real experienced knowledge of authorities like Lord Brahma. Men influenced by the three modes of material nature imagine their own God according to the modes of material nature. In this way, God is presented in various ways, but your appearance will establish what the real form of God is. The
Hare
highest.
Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. So here, very wonderfully, the three levels of realization of the Supreme Lord is described. Impersonal Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Right? You know that Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shochati na gangshati. That is the stage of impersonal realization. The next stage, or those who perform Ashtanga Yoga, they realize the Supreme Lord as a Paramatma. But the bliss is never experienced until we know that we have to perform devotional service unto the Supreme Lord. Such devotional service understanding can be obtained only when one realizes this Vijnanam or this transcendental knowledge, realized knowledge, by hearing from a bona fide guru who has already experienced that knowledge by serving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So in this way, we understand that Gurum Eva Bigachet, right? It's only by the process of hearing from a bona fide spiritual master can we understand the Lord's form, the Lord's Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela, etc. Simply by, not by Ajnana Bidapamarjanam. That is not by speculative knowledge. Vijnanam or realized knowledge can be attained only when one hears from a bona fide spiritual master and with a mood of service, right? Tadvidi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshante te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. The realized person can give us this knowledge only when we approach the bona fide authority or a spiritual master with a mood of surrender and with a mood to perform devotional service and perform our inquiry with a submissive mood and with the attitude of how can I implement it in my life, right? So with this, we will end our today's session. It's 12:45. So tomorrow we will continue from the highest blunder committed by the impersonalists. So there will be a comparison between the impersonalists and also the Mayavadis also. Like sometimes they think that, Krishna, when he appears as an ordinary human being, he is subject to the laws of Maya, right? Which is very, very offensive, right? Mayavadi, Aparadi, right? Because they consider that Krishna to be almost equal with them. They're like how they become subject to the laws of Maya, like that, even the Lord is subject to Maya. So in that way, Prabhupada will take us through the journey of how to understand Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead and how this realization can be obtained only when one hears from a bona fide Guru coming in a bona fide disciplic succession. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Krishna Book ki Jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, we'll do 2 minutes Harinam Sankirtan and then we'll end our session. Devotees can switch on your cameras. We'll see who are all there. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Priti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyarishatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivatadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Gaura Nitai, Jai Jai Jagannath, Jaya Baladeva, Jai Subhadra, Jaya Sudarshana, Jai Radha Krishna, Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Krishna, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Gurudev, Gurudev, Nitai Gaur, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Prabhupada, Sri Gurudev ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Swami Blissy, Sridhar Prabhu, Sarva Gopeshwari Mataji, Shobha Mataji. She's, I don't know, she's in office, maybe she's walked across somewhere. All right. Harjeet Mataji, Karpagavali Mataji, Rajneesh Prabhu, Shubhangi Keshavi Mataji, Anusha Mataji, Rohini Mataji, Shri Priya Sampat Mataji, Navkishori Mataji, and Shobha Mataji is also back. Hare Krishna, thank you all very much for joining in. Vacha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhyevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudev ki Jai, Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. All right, so let's quickly have our poll now. Anusha Mataji, you can lower your hand, send me a message. You're already out of time. So quickly, 11 o'clock. Okay, we will not take, even if 11 and 11:30 are comfortable, you will raise your hands for both the times. If the time is comfortable, you will raise your hands, right? In that way, maximum hands up. That time we will take that time. Okay, please raise your virtual hands. Okay, so that all the others who are not able to switch on the cameras also can vote. Okay, let's say 11 a.m. Indian Standard Time. 11 a.m. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 for 11 a.m. Okay, 11:30 a.m. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, okay, fantastic. I think we got maximum votes for 11:30 a.m. Let's continue this. Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai. Anusha Mataji, please send me your query on WhatsApp. I will try to answer you. All right. And Anusha Mataji is doing a very wonderful seva of updating the key points in the YouTube channel. I myself have not seen much of that. Please forgive me for that. But I would encourage devotees to please read it and share your comments in the YouTube channel, right? Definitely when I have the time, I will go and read in details. Mataji also was updating in the Facebook. I read a couple of key points updated by Mataji on the Facebook. Thank you so much, Mataji, for this wonderful seva. Because, 2 or 3 times in the class only, you've given a summary of the class. So I'm sure you're doing a wonderful job. Thank you very much for your seva. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrind ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. So meet you all 5 a.m. tomorrow, Brahma Muhurta chanting, and 11:30 a.m. for our continuation of Krishna book, chapter number 3. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev.